Now let us discuss about the forms of marriage. The main forms of marriage are polygyny, polyandry, monogamy, and group marriage. In fact, the modern society, in modern society, we can observe monogamy, polygyny, and polyandry. So, from the examination point of view, uh, these points are very important, especially for objective type of questions related to APPSC and TSPSC Group 2 exam. These points are very important. So, what is meant by polygyny? Polygyny is a form of marriage in which one man marries more than one woman at a given time. Simply, polygyny denotes a man having more than one wife. Polygamy is more popular than polyandry, but not as universal as monogamy. Generally, monogamy is considered as the universal social phenomena. Then polygyny was practiced in most of the ancient civilizations. It prevailed among the ancient Hebrews, then Assyrians, Babylonians, Indians, and others. Then here examples are very important. Now I think you got the uh, concept. The concept is that where a man marry more than one woman, that is called polygyny. And at present, it is widespread among primitive tribes, but it is often simply confined to the wealthier classes. Polygyny is in practice among the Eskimo tribes, then Crow Indians, then Hidassa of North America, African Negroes. So these are the examples from outside India. But as far as Indian society is concerned, the tribes like Nagas, Gonds, and Baigas practice polygyny. So, however, it is permitted in Muslim community also with certain uh, conditions, with certain rules and regulations. But as far as the examples from tribal communities are concerned, the Naga, Gond, Baiga, these are the three best examples for polygyny. And even today they practice polygyny. But as far as the other religions like uh, Hinduism, Christianity, Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism prohibit polygyny. Generally, all these religions promote monogamy. But however, on certain situations, the polygyny could be seen in Hindu society also, especially in rural areas. Then type of polygyny. There are two types. Polygyny is two types. One is sororal polygyny, another one non-sororal polygyny. Sororal polygyny is a type of marriage in which the wives are invariably the sisters. That means if a man marry the two or more sisters from the same family, and that kind of marriage is known as a sororal polygyny. That means where the wives of a person are the own sisters coming from one particular family. So the term this is also actually known as sororate, but the sororate have a different meaning. I'll come to that discussion later. Then the Latin word soror stands for sister. So when several sisters are simultaneously or potentially the spouses of the same man, the practice is called sororate. It is usually observed among the tribes which pay a high bride price. The death of the wife or her childlessness is compensated by supplying a new spouse, who is generally the younger sister of the deceased woman. But here there is a slight difference between sororal polygyny and sororate. Sororal polygyny means where a man is permitted to have his wives from the same family, from a particular family, and where the wives are the own sisters. That is called sororal polygyny. But sororate means when we can define sororate like this from sociological point of view, that where the man is permitted to marry the unmarried sister of his deceased wife. Again, I'm carefully using this terms. Sororate is a form of marriage where a man is permitted to marry an unmarried sister of his deceased wife. That means, on the event of the death of the wife, a person is permitted to marry his deceased wife's younger sister, if at all she is unmarried. That is called sororate. And there are many tribal communities who practice sororate. Then non-sororal polygyny, and it is a type of marriage in which the wives are not related as sisters for social, economic, and political and other reasons. Both the types are practiced by some people. So here non-sororal polygyny means where number one, a person is permitted to have more than one wife, and those wives may come from different families. That means a person is permitted to marry the more than one woman belonging to different families. That is called non-sororal polygyny. That means the wives are not the own sisters. They have come from the different families. So like that, polygyny can be classified into two types. Then another concept is polyandry. So polyandry is the marriage of one woman with several men. That means polyandry is a form of marriage in which woman is permitted to marry more than one man. It is much less common than polygyny. It is practiced among the Tibetans, Marquesan Islanders of Polynesia, then the Bahama of Africa, and the tribals of Samoa. These are the examples from outside India. So the Tibetans, then the tribes in Polynesia, then the Bahama tribe in Africa. They practice polyandry. But in Indian context, the tribals such as Tian, the Toda, the Kota, the Khasa, and Ladakhi Bota also practice polyandry. But as far as polyandry is concerned, Toda is a popular tribe. This is Toda. Toda is a popular tribe which practice polyandry, and Todas practice both fraternal polyandry as well as non-fraternal polyandry. Similarly, polygyny, polyandry is also of two types: fraternal polyandry and non-fraternal polyandry. Fraternal polyandry means when several brothers share the same wife, the practice can be called as adelphic or fraternal polyandry. That means the fraternal polyandry denotes where a woman is permitted to marry the brothers belonging to one particular family. That means the husbands of a woman are own brothers, and that is called fraternal polyandry. But in some tribal communities like Todas, a woman is permitted to marry the man or men from different families, and they need not be the brothers. So such kind of polyandry is known as non-fraternal polyandry. So in this type, husbands need not have any close relationship prior to the marriage. That means they may belong to the different families. So the wife goes to spend some time with each husband. So long as a woman lives with one of her husband, the others have no claim over her. So this is about the polyandry, and which is classified into two types like fraternal polyandry and non-fraternal polyandry. But with regard to this, there is another practice called levirate. This levirate is practiced by many tribal communities. So this levirate is opposite to sororate. This sororate and levirate can be observed in different tribal communities. Now let me discuss about levirate. Levirate means where a married woman is permitted to marry the surviving brothers or surviving brother of her deceased husband. Again, I am repeating. Where a woman is permitted to marry the surviving brother of her deceased husband. That means on the event of the death of husband, a woman is permitted to marry her deceased husband's brother. So this kind of practice could be seen in many tribal communities, and it is said that the levirate is practiced by many tribal communities in order to provide social and economic security to the woman and her children. That is called levirate. Then already I discussed about sororate. Sororate is nothing but what? Where a man is permitted to marry the unmarried sister of his deceased wife. So this is about levirate and sororate. So then the most prominent type of marriage is monogamy. Monogamy is the form of marriage in which one man marries one woman. This is most widespread form of marriage found among primitive as well as the civilized people. That means, according to this, in many societies and in many religious groups, a man is supposed to have only one wife during his lifetime, and similarly, a woman is supposed to have only one husband during her lifetime. That is called monogamy, and it is prevalent in almost all societies in the world, and it is practiced among the tribals such as Kadars, Santals, Khasis, then Kenella, the Hopi, the Iraqis, Andaman Islanders, Veddas of Ceylon, then Sevangas of Malaya and others. But from Indian context, students are supposed to remember the Indian tribes like Kadars, Santals, and Khasis. These are the three types who practice monogamy. So now, from examination point of view, I would like to tell you that as far as polygyny is concerned, the polygyny is practiced by certain Indian tribes like Nagas, Gonds, and Baigas. Then polyandry is practiced by Todas. Polyandry is practiced mainly by Toda. Apart from that, Tiyan, Kota, Khasa, Ladakhi, Bota. These tribes also, yeah, this is Tiyan, then Toda, Kota, and Khasa. So these are the tribes uh, who practice polyandry. Then monogamy, Kadar, Santals, and Khasis. And then another form of marriage is called group marriage. Theoretically, group marriage means the marriage of two or more women with two or more women. But this arrangement is practically rare. Here, the husbands are common husbands and the wives are common wives. And children are regarded as the children of the entire group as a whole. So, this kind of practice could be seen in certain countries like some of the tribals in Australia, India, Tibet, and Ceylon are believed to have practiced group marriage. But however, at present, almost this concept of group marriage has vanished, and now there are no evidences that where this group marriage is practiced by uh, certain communities. But on the whole, in modern societies, the monogamy, polygyny, and polyandry are being practiced by different societies and communities in the world. Then we have to discuss about the rules of marriage. In many societies, marriage is guided by certain rules, and these rules of marriage are related to choose the life partner for an individual. So in many societies where premarital choice is allowed, the selection is not absolute but relative. That means people do not have the absolute freedom to choose their life partner from any social group. So, certain rules regarding who should marry whom always govern such selection. Then, most importantly, there are two rules of marriage: one is endogamy, another one exogamy. These are the two important rules of marriage. One is endogamy. Endogamy is a rule of marriage in which the life partners are to be selected within the group. It is marriage within the group, or and the group may be caste, class, tribe, race, village, and religious group, etc. So the best examples for the rule of endogamy is caste and subcaste. A person belonging to a particular caste must marry within that caste. So that is why caste is an endogamous group. Apart from that, the class denote economic status. Sometimes class also act as an endogamous group. For example, an upper class person is supposed to marry an upper class woman. So, but however, the class is more flexible. Class is an open group, but caste is very rigid. A person belonging to a particular caste shall marry within the same caste. Similarly, tribe is also a very rigid group. A person belonging to a particular tribe shall marry, and they should marry within that tribe. And in uh, certain villages, especially in North India, in Indian context, the village some people also practice village endogamy. I mean, they marry within the same village. And in some areas in North India, they practice village exogamy. In some villages, especially in South India, the village endogamy is also practiced. Then religious group, almost all religions practice the rule of endogamy. So therefore, we can say that caste endogamy, class endogamy, subcaste endogamy, race endogamy, tribal endogamy are the different forms of endogamy. Then what are the factors what were the factors responsible for the emergence of rule of endogamy? According to certain sociological studies, it is said factors such as the policy of separation. That means one group want to separate from another group in order to keep their social and cultural identity separately. Then virtual geographic separation of people. People belonging to particular geographical region would like to maintain their identity. So therefore, they prefer to marry within a particular social group inhabiting in a particular geographical area. Then the desire to keep wealth within the group. So by practicing rule of endogamy, a social group can protect their wealth. Then religious, racial, and cultural differences between the people. Sometimes the cultural differences between different social groups, racial differences between different social group, and religious differences between different social groups have also resulted into the rule of endogamy. Then endogamy as a rule of marriage has its own advantages. It contributes to the group unity and solidarity. It keeps women happier with their group. It helps to preserve the property within the group. It also safeguards the purity of the group. Finally, it helps to keep under secret the strength and weaknesses and also the professional secrets of the group. So these are certain advantages with the rule of endogamy. Then the rule of endogamy has its disadvantages also. Some of the disadvantages are like this: by dividing the society into small endogamous units, it strikes at national unity. For example, take caste and religion. So, both the caste as an endogamous group and religion as an endogamous group create the uh, socio-cultural differences between different caste groups and religious groups, and sometimes it create conflict between the different caste groups and religious groups. Then second, by limiting the choice of life partners, it often gives scope for evil practices such as polygyny, dowry system, bride price, etc. Then it may also make it the followers to develop hatred and contempt to other groups. It is also said that close inbreeding caused by endogamy may affect the biological potentiality of the offsprings. For these disadvantages, endogamy is condemned. The modern civilized people are more in favor of exogamy than endogamy. Means in modern society, to avoid these kind of disadvantages, people prefer to marry from other caste groups or from other religious groups or from other linguistic groups or from other cultural groups. So, this is about the rule of endogamy and its advantages and disadvantages. Now, let us briefly discuss about the rule of exogamy. Exogamy is almost the opposite of endogamy. Exogamy is a rule of marriage in which a man has to marry outside his own group. It prohibits marrying within the group. The rule of exogamy insists that the so called blood relatives shall neither have marital connections nor sexual contacts among themselves. Near relatives are not supposed to marry among themselves, but the degree of nearness differs from community to community. For example, uh, in Hindu society, each caste is further divided into gotras. Gotra is also known as a clan. Even many tribal communities in India are further subdivided into different clans. So the clan or gotra means it is a kinship group where the members have originated from a common ancestor. So that means clan means those who have originated from a common real ancestor or common mythical ancestor. Hence, they are considered as the blood relatives. So, according to Hindu philosophy, the marriage among the blood relatives is strictly prohibited. So, therefore, a person belonging to one gotra or one clan is supposed to marry from another gotra or another clan. And same thing is practiced among many tribal communities. So, in this context, we can give certain examples. Say Gotra exogamy. The Hindus practice marrying from outside one's own Gotra. Similarly, Pravara exogamy. Those who belong to the same Pravara. Pravara means uttering the name of a common saint at religious functions. That means for every Gotra, they have a particular ancestor. So, generally, on certain religious occasions, the rituals are performed in the name of the Gotra. So, they take the name of the ancestor from whom the members of that Gotra have emerged or originated. And in uh, some regions, they also practice village exogamy. That means many Indian tribes like Naga, Garo, and Munda have practice of marrying outside their village. Even in many states like Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, there are many regions where they practice village exogamy. That means a person is not supposed to marry within uh, their own village. Even though they want to get their life partner from the same caste, but they are not supposed to marry within uh, uh, the village. So therefore, they have to get their life partner from outside the village or from another village. So then lastly, there is a Pinda exogamy. Pinda exogamy means those who belong to the same Pinda or Sapinda, this is called also Sapinda exogamy, cannot marry within themselves. That means Pinda means common parentage. That means the persons who have born through the common parentage and they are not supposed to marry. So these are the examples for rule of exogamy. So these two rules are strictly practiced by many caste groups, religious groups, and tribal groups in India. So these are the important points related to marriage. And all these points are very much helpful for different types of competitive examinations, most importantly for APPSC and TGPSC Group 1 and Group 2 examinations. Thank you.